Hi everyone, we're starting chapter 14, which is about depreciation, and you're going to learn several different methods. Section 14.1 is about the straight line method. So here's some terminology. Depreciation is an estimate of the use or deterioration of an asset. And so this is something that's used, like for taxes and those kind of things with a business. The asset cost is the amount paid for it, including freight charges. And then the estimated useful life is how many years do we think we're going to be able to use this asset. Now, you may be familiar with depreciation based on a car, right? When you purchase a car and you drive it off the lot, it started out with a certain amount that it was worth, and then it depreciates or goes down over time. So if you look up the worth of the car, you can see what's happening, and that's depreciation. The residual value, also called salvage value, in this book they usually call it the residual value, is the expected cash value at the end of the asset's useful life. So if you can use an asset for 4 years, at the end of 4 years, it's going to have an expected value. All right, and so on the accumulated depreciation, that's just going to be the amount taken each year, and it just adds up. So at the end of year 1, there's a certain amount, and then at the end of year 2 will be more, end of year 3, and so you just basically keep adding the depreciation together. The book value is the amount that the asset cost in the beginning, and then it will decrease each year as you depreciate. So you have your original book value, and that was the cost of the asset in the first place. And then your accumulated book value will be decreasing as you depreciate. Oh, and the book value can't ever be less than the residual value. So if that happens, you just need to make sure you notice and say, okay, I can't take that much depreciation that year because I would go below the residual value. All right, on this next part, we're going to look at product obsolescence, when computers or technology becomes outdated. And so, it's not really worth what it should be anymore because it's outdated. Physical deterioration is when the assets are starting to wear out due to use, right? And then this is our first method we're going to talk about, and that's straight line method. This method spreads an equal amount of depreciation over each year over the life of the asset. And so to find this, we take the depreciation, or we take the original cost, we subtract the residual value, and then we divide that by the number of years that it's stated is going to be the useful life. And so it's an exact amount each year, and it doesn't change. And then you can read this part about the AHA. For accounting purposes, we never depreciate the salvage or residual value because we expect to recover that amount, right? So at the end of the life, you can sell the asset and get back that amount, that residual value. Okay, so we're going to do a little practice here with the straight line method. You'll notice with these charts there's a lot of things to fill out, but there's also some things that are repetitive there, like the cost of the car. So in this case, the cost of the car is $29,000. So we're actually going to put $29,000 in our chart all the way down the chart. So each year, the original cost of the car is still the original cost. So that one's a pretty easy column to complete. All right, now let's go back up here. The cost is $29,000, the residual value is $5,500, the estimated useful life is 5 years. So we're going to take the $29,000, subtract the residual value because that's the amount we can depreciate, right? The difference of those two is how much we depreciate. So that would be $23,500, and then we're going to take that and divide it by the number of years that stated for your useful life. So we divide that by 5 in this case, and we see that we're going to take 4,700 in depreciation every year. So the depreciation expense for year is going to be 4,700 all the way down this column. All right, so every year we take another $4,700 off for the depreciation on the straight line. Now, the accumulated depreciation is going to be 4,700 plus 4,700 and so on. So all the way down, we're just going to keep adding another 4,700. Now, as we go, let's go ahead and depreciate from the book value. So this first one is going to be 29,000 minus 4,700. And so in this column, we'll have 24,300. And then we're going to keep just subtracting all the way down. Now, the other way you can do this is you could take the 29,000 and subtract the depreciation, the accumulated depreciation, right? So when I multiply this times 2 for 2 years now, we're going to take off 9,400. So you can either take 24,300 minus 4,700, or you can take 29,000 minus 94. You're going to get the same number. And so for the next year, it would be 19,600. We add 4,700 to the previous year. So now after 3 years, we are depreciating 14,100. And our new book value is going to be 14,900. Remember, that is minus 4,700 minus 4,700, right? That makes the chart look kind of messy, but you see that's what we're doing, okay? I'm going to take that off of there. And so we just can keep going, right? We're going to subtract that again. Subtract one last time. Now this number has to be equal to our residual value or higher, but for the straight line method, it always comes out exact. Remember, on this one, we just keep adding 4,700 for this column. And so with straight line, we come out exactly to the residual value, and that is the chart. It's completed. So we have another thing here. This is called depreciation for partial years. So normally when you buy an asset, it's going to be at a certain time of year, and for the partial, the depreciation for partial years is basically its meaning for the first year, it's not going to be a full year of depreciation. If it's bought before the 15th of the month, then you depreciate that month plus the rest of the year. If it's bought after the 15th, then you don't count that month and you start your depreciation in the next month. So this one says, if the car on the previous slide was purchased on March 10th before the 15th, right, what would the depreciation expense be for the first year? So March is the third month of the year. So we did not have this item, we didn't purchase this item in January or February, purchased it in March. So from March through December would be 10 months. So we're going to depreciate for 10 months out of 12. And our depreciation is going to be less because of that, right? So we're going to have that. What is happening? Hold on a second. I was having problems with my other computer that I have here. So for the first year, instead of taking the 4,700, that full amount, we're going to multiply it by 10 months out of 12, and then that would be 3,917. Now, it's not actually exactly 3,917 on depreciation. We're always going to round to a whole number. And so this actually was 3,916.66 repeats, 67 if we round it. But we're always just going to go to whole numbers. So don't use any dollars and cents on these. Always round to whole numbers. That just makes this go so much nicer. All right. Here's our next one. Jim Company bought a machine for $38,000 with an estimated life of 6 years. The residual value of the machine is $5,000. Calculate A, the annual depreciation, B, the book value at the end of year 3, C, if the machine was bought on June 12th, how much depreciation would be taken the first year. Okay, so $38,000 was the initial cost, right? Our book value in the beginning. We're going to subtract the residual value, which gives us $33,000. Then we divide by the number of years for the useful life, which was 6. Right, it's right there in the problem. So you always have to go back and maybe read these more than one time. Of course, in business math, you're going to do that a lot. So every year we're going to take $5,500 off for depreciation. So that's part A. On part B, it says to find the book value at the end of year 3. So we're going to take our $38,000 and subtract 3 years of depreciation. So that's $38,000 minus 3 times 5,500, which is $16,500. So at the end of year 3, our book value is $21,500. And then we go on to part C. So part C says, if the machine was bought on June 12th, how much depreciation would be taken the first year? So June 12th is before. June 12th is before the 15th. So that means we'll take that month in depreciation. And that would be 7 months. You can always just count this up on your fingers if you need to. So for the first year, we would take the 5,500 times 7 months, which is 7 out of 12. And then once again, you would round this because we round all of these to a whole number, a whole dollar amount. So when you calculate it, you'll see there's some dollars and cents. Just round it to a whole number, and then you've got it finished. All right, I'm going to stop this video and then we'll pick it up on the next one when we're going to talk about units of production.